Hi guys! So, it's time for another draw for the PopSugar Challenge. Okay, so, I still had the other ones. Let's not waste any time. Let's see what's my next read. Oh, it's finally one in the 20s. I don't think I've had anything from the 20s. So, it's prompt number 28. Oh yeah, I remember this one. It's Nowhere Girl by Carla Ciccone. I remember this one. This was actually an interesting find. It's about ADHD, which I have. So, number 28, let's see what the prompt was. A book about depth. Because a lot of people with ADHD do have depth, so that's why this was picked. And I'll read to you the synopsis, but I'm actually not one of those people. I actually have a lot of savings. Well, a lot for someone who doesn't make a lot of money. In like American money, that's nothing because, I'm in Eastern Europe, low income, and I'm actually low income in my country. So, yeah. And especially because, I'm a single mom, so it's not like I'm rolling in it. And actually, in my country, you can't make any money on TikTok at all. So this is just my hobby. It would be nice if someone actually sent me like books and stuff. That would be fun, but I'm not holding my breath because it's also a known thing that the algorithm favors IP addresses. So the upload IP address should be something in like number one favorite spot is US, number two favorite spot is the UK, and also I think Canada is pretty up there too, and Eastern Europe is like somewhere in the dumps. So if you're uploading from an Eastern European IP address, and then basically the algorithm sort of penalizes you for your location, which is fun. Yeah. So that's why I have terrible views. But oh well, I'm doing this for fun, and also because I like to talk about books and I want to read more. So this is kind of incentivizing me to talk about books. And also it's fun. And as a single mom, I don't have a lot of free time. So that's why I do audiobooks, because I read while doing chores, I'm listening while showering, or stuff like resting, commuting to work. Sometimes because I sort of have, I teach English and also do some other stuff for this small company. And sometimes there's no one in my sort of office. It's also the learning zone. So sometimes I'm listening to audiobooks while I'm doing stuff like creating things for my classes. So yeah, I'm using every second of time that I have to listen to audiobooks. Okay, so this is a long synopsis. So yeah, I don't have money to splurge, so I don't splurge. And also I grew up pretty, well, not poor, but low middle class. And I learned the value of every forint, which is my local currency, very early on. So I actually get anxious if I have to spend money on something. Okay, so let's see. What is this book about? So, Nowhere Girl, Life as a Member of ADHD's Lost Generation, which I'm also part of. I was just officially diagnosed last year. So, why is a generation of women only now discovering they have ADHD? A journalist recounts her own experience living for decades with undiagnosed ADHD and explores the transformative power of finally coming to understand your own brain. So this is kind of like my story. When freelance journalist Carla Ciccone I so this is an Italian last name, so I'm reading it as you should. Became a mother, she realized she might need to finally see a therapist. That's actually what happened to me. Because when I became a mom, I was like, oh, I have this. No, I didn't have this. I totally don't have this at all. And all the coping mechanisms that I, for 40 years, because I was 40 when I gave birth, so 40 years of my life, I developed these coping mechanisms to work with my own ADHD brain. All of them were out the window. Sure, she had struggled to hold down a job and manage her intense emotions for most of her adult life, but she'd always made it work. But making it work wasn't going to cut it now that she had another human being to raise. Yeah. Months into therapy at age 39, 43. Carla was officially diagnosed with ADHD, and she learned that she was far from a number of women Carla's age who were being diagnosed with ADHD had more than doubled in recent years. Yeah, because we're the last generation. 41 million prescriptions for the psychostimulant Adderall were filled in the United States in 2021, a 10% increase from the year before, and for the first time, a substantial number of these new prescriptions were being written for women. So I'm not on the stimulant. Well, I'm not supposed to be, but the thing is that the medication I am supposed to be on is unavailable in my whole country. So I'm unmedicated again, still fun. And it's not easy. So actually the medication that I'm supposed to be taking is a non-stimulant medication because I also have very severe anxiety. And let's just say being a mom for a kind of like a problematic child who is doing 2 therapies and we don't know why nothing's working, it's not easy. So, in Nowhere Girl, Carla weaves her personal story with a broader investigation into the rise of ADHD diagnosis. She looks back at the classrooms of the 1990s where ADHD was diagnosed mostly to little boys who were unable to sit still, shifts her gaze to the hormonal upheavals of adolescence and their unique effects on the neurochemistry of girls, and then examines her own chaotic entrance into motherhood and her desire to do right by her own daughter. I have a son, and he's probably ADHD too. Just the little boy version, which is fun. Not really. Throughout, she examines her science and culture history of ADHD and considers how the hundreds of thousands of women not being diagnosed with ADHD can revisit their own personal histories and navigate their words towards a steadier, happier adulthood. Yeah, when half of that, your life is like gone. It's kind of like, so yeah, this sounds interesting. That's why I picked it because, yeah, it's partly of me. So that should be an interesting read, to kind of read about myself. Weird. Except, I'm not in America. I'm in Hungary. And I can't get medication. Oh, shit. I'll probably have to beat it out. Anyway, so yeah, that's my life. And I'm going to read kind of about my life. And so stay tuned for that. This should be an interesting review. How I see it from a perspective of being someone who is personally impacted by the subject of this book. So, yeah, I'll probably talk more parallels with my own life. So maybe I'll not even like do one whole review. We'll see how this book is structured, but maybe I'll do like several reviews. Maybe. I don't know yet. We'll see how it works. And anyway, so do you have ADHD? Are you late diagnosed like me? Let's commiserate. commiserate. And thanks for watching. And yeah, like I said, I'm not on medication, so expect lots of personal stories, because a part of my ADHD, I'm the happy ADHD, the one that can't stop talking. That's also why I'm doing this, because I have to talk. Hi guys! So this is a review of, and I need to read this out, Nowhere Girl, Life as a Member of ADHD's Lost Generation by Carla Ciccone. I actually read it as Cicciona because that's the standard Italian pronunciation. She says Ciccione. Her parents do come from Southern Italian background, so maybe that's the way they say it there. Anyway, I read this book as a part of the 2026 PopSugar Reading Challenge, and this was for, and I'm reading again, prompt number 28, a book about death. So I actually had a really hard time picking a book about that. So I figured a lot of ADHD people have a lot of that. She actually doesn't, and I don't either. But you could say that there's the whole ADHD tax, and we kind of have adapt to ourselves, especially diagnosed late in life. So yeah, maybe this is a bit of a stretch, but some of these prompts are like, who thought of these really? Why am I doing this to myself? Anyway, I'll give it a pass. And this was a book I've been wanting to read anyway, or well, listen to. It was read by the author, so which was very nice. And towards the end, there's a part you'll see if you listen to it, where she gets really emotional, and that was kind of sweet to see, because I've listened to a lot of books being read out by the author, and I never had anyone go that emotional. So, Carla. So, and I actually made some notes as I was listening to it, because it's the type of book where you need to make notes. So, what is this book about? This book is about, Carla. It's a memoir, basically. But it's an interesting one, because the way she does it is that, so she was diagnosed with ADHD at 39. And what she does is she goes back to her childhood, and also kind of to her family's history, and looks at her whole life through the lens of ADHD. How did her ADHD affect her life? What were the symptoms? How did her ADHD play a role in how everything turned out? And meanwhile, she also cites a lot of research into ADHD, or well, a lot of, as much as exists, especially for girls with ADHD. There isn't as much research as for boys. So, and there are areas where it's severely lacking, like ADHD, and actually existing as a woman, hormones, and also taking birth control. Like, I'm on continuous birth control. Where is the research on my ADHD and my birth control interacting? Not to mention, I also have Hashimoto's, which is actually very interesting. Just let me refer to my notes, because she does note at one point that during her research, she encountered a lot of, she calls us nowhere girls, because we were nowhere when we were kids. We had ADHD, and there wasn't even a diagnostic criteria. They actually, like in the 90s, they thought, like up to the 2000s, they thought that girls didn't even get ADHD, or like very rarely. So Yeah, we weren't anywhere. And she actually knows that a lot of nowhere girls suffer from autoimmune disorders, and I have Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune thyroid disorder. And like, why? Just why, researchers? Hello. Here's one more topic. I know you probably have a list because you haven't been doing much research for into ADHD and women. So here's another topic you can cover. Now go. So let's go through my notes. I think that's the easiest way to do this review. So in the very beginning, she talks about how we hear she's lazy, she has her head in the clouds, she gives up too easily, she's careless, she's a klutz. Yep, heard them all, except in Hungarian, but heard them all. And also, there was an interesting note: boys externalize their struggles, girls bury theirs. Yeah, I buried mine in smiles and pink. I love pink. There was a lot of pink. I even have a pink panther. Like, he's old. He's kind of still next to me. And also, here's this part. When they did alert our parents that something was wrong, as my 7th grade math teacher did, it was usually done in a way that placed blame on us instead of considering issues beyond our control. So actually, my mother really wasn't. She was being told that I had my head in the clouds, that I didn't pay enough attention, I made silly mistakes. If I only paid more attention, so I should pay more attention. It's not like I wasn't trying. But yeah, actually, I had an outburst when I was in 6th grade, and I realized like a couple months ago that I never told about this to my mom. And that was because I didn't want to trouble her. But yeah, I had there was a little thing in a class where a teacher kind of went back on their word, and it, our sense of justice is a lot stronger. And I kind of got really, really mad, and I pushed the table a bit, and it kind of like moved. It almost toppled over. It was a bad construction anyway. My school had old furniture, like really old and terrible condition. And anyway, so from then on, I was the crazy girl. And it wasn't just the students, it was the teachers too. Fun. Anyway, that was my life. And so, yeah. I was crazy, apparently. Also, sometimes we ask, what the hell is wrong with you? Yeah, I asked that for myself. Yep. So there is also, she knows that even in nursing school at 4 or 5 years old, they can see the difference between them and others, and they feel excluded. Actually, I was noticeably different at 2 years old because I went to daycare from around the age of 2. And I was noticeably different. I had like sensory issues. Like, they actually thought, because I hate sand. It feels awful on my skin. I have terrible, like, just thinking about it is like, it irritates my skin so bad. And even as a child, you could not force me to go into a sand pit. And yeah, I wouldn't play in the sand, but the other kids were playing, so I tried, and and everyone thought that it was because I was trying to keep my clothes clean. No, I just hate sand. So yeah, I was noticeably different even at 2 years old. Also, there's this thing. Let me read this out. Clinical psychologist and ADHD expert Kathleen Nadeu, I don't know, advises parents of ADHD teens to set them up for post-secondary by giving them time to practice and figure out how to how the adult world works before getting thrust into it. And the thing is that I was raised by a single mom, and I was trying to help out from very early age as much as I could. So I would clean. I was cooking and baking at the age of 9. I was managing my own schoolwork. I packed my own bag and all of these things. And so much so that my mom still brings it up that she once helped me with one thing in 4th grade. Whole thing. Anyway, so yeah, it wasn't, I didn't get much help, but it helped in a way because I developed a lot of systems and a lot of ways how to work with my brain and how I could get my stuff back, how I could get my homework done, how I could remember that I had homework done. That's part of the problem. You actually don't remember you have homework. So I made lists. I like one hack that I did was that I actually retain information better if I hear it. And I would I had a tape recorder that had a little built-in microphone, and I would record myself reading out the material, and I would be doing stuff and listening to it. And also sometimes I would just lie in bed and just listen to it over and over and over again. And so yeah, that's one thing that I did. But yeah, I developed a lot of systems in my childhood, and thanks to that, actually my transition into living on my own as an adult was pretty easy. Actually, I would say that it was easier to live on my own as it was to live with my mom, because I could cook for myself whatever I wanted. I didn't have to consult her. I could clean every other week. I didn't have to clean more often because mom loves cleanliness. She still cleans every day. And also I would do whatever, and there wasn't anyone to tell me you have to do this and you have to cook this and you have to buy this for lunch and stuff like that. So I could experiment with food and things like that, which I really enjoyed. So yeah, because my mom and we have very different tastes in food. Well, okay, some overlap, but others not so much. Anyway, what else was there here? Oh yeah, she also writes about some of her troubles with guys. And the thing is that I never had that because I'm aromantic and I was never all that interested in relationships. And I wasn't very attractive to guys. Still not. Don't care anymore. I'm 43. It's not like I'm going to get married at this age. I'm old. But yeah. So I actually, and also my father was, well, not nice. And so I was actually never in relationships with, this cloud and things like that. I never had that. So yeah, there was a little bit of a boring part where she lists out every job she ever had, which was okay. Then there was this place where so yeah, she likes that she has relative calm and stability now in her life, and I kind of do as well, and I hate it. I hate it so much. I want my chaos back. It's it's too routine. I hate routine. I don't know how much longer I can stand it, actually. I don't know. I just want to run away for a week every day and just have a little bit of spontaneity and out of this. Same. Okay. So yeah, she also recounts that being a mom helps her because she's oh, I have this beautiful daughter who's happy and perfect and beautiful and all of that. Well, my child is very behind in development. Like, he's 3, he's not talking, he's not potty trained, he refuses to use utensils, he screams a lot, he has tantrums. So, no, I can't relate to this one. I wish I could, but yeah, it's not going well. Okay. And also, at some points, she talks about how this is long with you. I hope you're still here. But anyway, at some point, she talks about how ADHD had this research that like that it's twofold, that you have sort of ADHD, but then it actually gets triggered by trauma. I don't agree with this. Like, show me one person whose brain is formed to have ADHD and doesn't actually have ADHD. So I don't agree with this. The reason why I don't agree with this is that even as a child, between me and probably my kid is neurodivergent as well, there was a marked difference between me and other kids, like neurotypical kids. And there was no trauma. But what I think happens is that we're different. Everyone sees we're different. Adults see it, peers see it. They may not know why, but they clock it. And then we get bullied, we get sidelined, we have problem making friends because we're the weird kid, and all of that. And all of these things become trauma. And trauma is then compiles on the ADHD, and it kind of makes us more depressed. And the more depressed you are, the worse your executive function is, and all of that. And the more in you go, also because you're on the sidelines so much, you don't have friends. Like, she says she has friends. Not so much. Maybe a few, but no close friends at all. Like, if I wanted to have a coffee with someone, I'd have a coffee with Pink Panther. Yeah. Or I have a Care Bears collection. I know. I just love plushies. They're my friends. Anyway, so yeah. I have actually, once I bought a Care Bear and I went for a coffee afterwards, well, a matcha, and I put my Care Bear on the table and made a photo and like having matcha with my Care Bear. I love Care Bears. They're so cute. I have a collection. Anyway, so yeah, friends. That would be nice. Anyway, so she closes the whole thing off by, we can be ourselves instead of twisting into someone else's idea of who we ought to be. My problem is I'm trying to be my idea of who I ought to be, and I'm failing at every moment. And I just still can't let go of that because I have high expectations of myself, and I'd probably never be able to live up to them. Like, I don't even have 700 followers here, so yeah. Anyway, and I just threw it on something. So let's take this little thing out. So I had 13 books read this year, and we can change the 3 to a 4. There we go. 14 books this year. Anyway, check out my review, which is written. It's actually less detailed. but it has more concise thoughts. And it was an interesting book. I highly recommend it. So go and read it. And wait for my next review, books, PopSugar Challenge, everything. And read the full review. Thanks for watching. Bye.